I'm down here on the south coast, a place I've never fished before. It's called Bracklesham Bay. I've always fancied fishing it, but bad mistake because I've come right on high water, so I'm going to be fishing the ebb, but that means I have no idea what the ground is like in front of me. I've got my rods out, I might catch something, I might not. It's just one of those days, and you can see really good weather. Can't grumble at the weather, can we? Look at it. Half term, lots of kids out, so I've walked at least 150 yards to the car park. Hopefully a bit of peace and quiet. Wow, that's a big arse wave. Hold tight, guys. There's a big one, spray as well on that one. So I'm right on high water. So a few big waves coming in, but obviously this is like what I would call an open storm beach. It's got these great big ka-chunking pebbles there, and they're tossed all the way up the beach, right over the top there. No nibbles yet, nothing happening, but I'm fishing with an ebb tide, so it's dropping all the time. It's pulling to the right. I've got 2 grip leads and I've got 2 plain leads. So I've bought 10 pounds worth of live ragworm. I've got some frozen sand eels left over, going to try those as well. And I've got some fillets of mackerel, which a tackle shop sold Mike. I don't know why he bought them actually, he was going wrasse fishing, but they sold him, they sold him some fillets of mackerel. I said, don't waste them, put them in the freezer. Now I'm grateful because I've got no more fresh mackerel left. And I'm going to be using these frozen ones, just fillets, in case there's something big out there. There might be the outside chance of a ray. Best of night, as I say, I've never fished here before, so I've got no idea. It's an expedition to adventure that I'm bringing you guys along as well. For tackle, I've got braid lines, which obviously give good bite indication. Don't really need it, the fish hook themselves. And I've got standard nylon, about 20 pounds. Might have a look at the tackle later on. It's just regular same old stuff I use. I'm not one to keep buying bits and pieces. Got grip leads out there, and I've got plain bombs as well. Now the idea being me coming here is some of the guys out in the boats have been catching some really good catches of place, like 30 a session to over £3. Well, that's boat fishing, don't get me wrong, that's boat fishing. But I've come to this area purely because, as far as I can tell, this is where they were catching them out in Bracklesham Bay. And there's a couple of boats out there, I might pick them up. It's been foggy, the foghorn's been going, there's not much wind, and it's going to clear away and burn off. As you can see, a lovely day, going to be lots of people out here asking me, Mister, have you caught any fish yet? I mean, I've come as far away from the car park as I can get, but I'm not walking all the way down there. Just thrown out here, I just hope that I'm not going to get my lines dragged into groins because I don't know this area at all. Going to be night fishing really. If I was doing it seriously, I would come night fishing. But listen, look at the weather. We've had a shock of a winter. It's about as good as it's going to get. Possibly this spring. This is in the springtime. And just see what we can catch. And as my kids say, just chill. Yeah. Now guys, here comes a bigger wave. This is called a different set. Sometimes you get 2 or 3 of these. Here it comes now. And there's a second one behind it as well. Well, 3:15, 11, 4¼ hours, no fish. And now, because I didn't know the area, I did say right at the start, always, check places out at low water. I've now found low water. It's a very, very long way out. So there you go. But the interesting thing is, I was here right on high tide. I mean, just as the tide was high. No bites at all, which I don't understand. No ripping tides, but it's absolutely clear ground out there. There's no snags, no nothing. It's lovely sand. there must have been flatfish feeding over that. I don't understand it. Okay, I've got some big baits out there. I've got half a mackerel side, you know, a couple of sardines lashed together with some ragworm, but I've also got small hooks out there with ragworm on it. So, what to do? I mean, there's people everywhere along the beach now. I don't know whether to pack up. I think I might just give it a couple of hours, because I'm only going to sit in a traffic queue. Hey ho, Saturday's not good in the UK. I might just wait and see what the turn of the tide is. It's going to be turning about 4:30ish, so another hour and a quarter. Then it's going to push me back up. So I've left my base camp here, which is just set up right at the top of the high tide. Probably the last spring tide storm punched all this shingle up over here. Obviously it's rolled it all the way along across that sand and built up over here over the years, and that's why they've got these different groins here, which are the wood supports to try and hold the beach together. That's what they're there for. So, you know, you saw them at high water. Again, it's worth checking out, because you don't know how far out they go when you're checking out waters. So always, if you've got the chance, get the local information, or better still, look for yourself, and you can see at low water where there's any potential snags, where there could be good fishing areas, and also, where does the water go to? And where indeed did that water go to? I just could not believe the attire of this gentleman. What was he doing? He was looking for something. He had what appeared to be a radio transmitter on his back, maybe a World War II model, a sawn-off pair of Wellingtons, and what I thought was a bait digging tool, which appears to be a garden trowel on the end of a broomstick. It was indeed a strange scenario. He was fascinated, yes, not by my fishing lines, but by the area around my tripod, around my beach rest. What was it he was interested in? I couldn't work it out. I mean, I was almost scared to go down there and cast my rods out. Look, he's looking for something. He likes the look of that. No, he's moving on. What on earth? I thought he was worm digging, but you'd never dig any worms with a garden trowel on the end of a 5-foot broomstick. All very curious, people, all very curious. And from my distance of 80 yards away, obviously fairly safe. But later on it transpired that in fact there were more people over the right of the picture. They were all bent double looking for something on the mud. Now what's going on here? Is there something I should be told about this particular beach? I don't understand why these people are all bent over looking for... Oh, I see, they've all watched the Gold Rush films on Discovery, and they're going to start some panning. Is that what it is for gold? No. In fact, as the tide went out, literally dozens of people came down onto the beach to look for what turned into fossils. Yes, this area is a top area washed by the tides for finding fossils. Well, I've quite enjoyed myself catching absolutely nothing, because I got involved in all that fossil collecting down there. And I've got a few shells to go back and show Mike, see if they are in fact ancient artefacts. I think I'll be an ancient artefact by the time I get a bite in this place. The tide is just turned. I've had about barely an hour of it coming up, so I've had a good old go at it. I'll give it another 30 minutes, but I'm going to try and find another spot, maybe tomorrow or the day after, but I don't know whether to stick to the open beach or whether to go for rough ground or a bit of rock fishing. That's the benefit of changing. Change where you're fishing, change your techniques, change your baits. Fishing is all about changing and learning. Today, I've caught nothing. I've had a great day on the beach, done a bit of fossil collecting. I've learned something, that's what it's all about. But I still want to catch a fish. It's not happening today. So, thanks for watching this section. Let's get out there and see if I can't catch you something somewhere else. Just look like an ordinary clam there to you and to me, but turning it over you can see this thing could be thousands of years old, because there used to apparently be a landmass under the sea here where I was fishing that went out for I think miles. They reckon there was actually a forest there, Anyway, I'm fishing away. It is an idyllic day. It is one of those days that you sort of enjoy even when you don't catch fish. But hey ho, I'm off on my second expedition. Yes, a different beach, a different day. Who knows what this would bring. Well, people, I've come down here on the beach. I've purposely made things really difficult for myself because I want to see if there's any truth in the fact that match tactics can nearly always get you the odd fish. Well, there's a bit of a breeze picking up. I've got to shield this mic if I can. Standing this way, the way you can see the sea. Look at this beautiful blue sky. The sea's not quite flat, but it is really on the south coast of England a sort of a no-no. Unless you're like going to go spinning for mackerel in the autumn or something, the chances of catching something off the beach is really, sad to say, quite slim. It's mostly night fishing down here. But I'm going to come down, I'm going to use small hooks, 3-hook flappers, small baits, and just see what I can catch and see if I can set myself a target. Because a lot of you guys out there, they can't fish at night, can you? You can't do night fishing, you're working and stuff the next day, and I fully appreciate that. But is there always a chance? Are we fishing with baits that are too big? Look, if you have a big bait, you're going to probably get a big fish or nothing. Most of the time, it's nothing, that's right. But the chances are good of catching at least something if you've got small baits on, and that's all I'm after, just to see if you guys out there use really small baits, maybe we can catch something. Of course, I'm going to be really stupid, aren't I, if I blank, but listen, what a glorious day it is. I was actually going to go boat fishing yesterday, but they got a big, pretty strong southerly wind, probably a thermal one, bringing warm air up from the south, and I thought, you know what, spring tides and the hassle of launching my boat on a low water spring, just forget it for maybe a day or so, but I thought it's too good a day to waste. Now, here's the situation. There's groins here, this is an island. Just think of Amity Island in Jaws. It's that type of thing where you've got an island connected by a bridge. Okay, they've got groins here to stop obviously this being broken up. They've got big stones, boulders, massive boulders up there to try and retain the beach. There's a channel through here where those yachts are coming out there. I'm going to put that up so you can see. And there's markers, 1, which I go past when I fish, 2, 3 out there. So that's a relatively deep water, but this side is a bank as I go out in a kayak. I can see the white water over there, and that's a sandbank. All this will be uncovered. I'm about an hour and a half into the flood, so I'm going to give it a go. It shouldn't be snaggy. Look, looking down here at the bottom, it shouldn't be snaggy. I've never fished up this end before in my life, so I've been meaning to do it for about 50 years, 40 years maybe. So here I am now. I could probably bring my gear down, but also what I want to do is get a bit of extra distance. I'm going to be using, to get that distance, a pair of chest waders, get me out a little bit farther and see if I can get a good distance on it. Right, let's get tackled up. Okay people, the rig I'm going to be using is just not a 3-hook but a 2-hook place rig. I'm going to try a plain bomb. Now this bomb has just got a long wire on it, so if I get that dead straight, the idea of this wire being like that is it doesn't wobble so much in the air. It's like a sort of tail or a rudder. Clips on there, but the first, if you like, hook, snood, trace, call it, is right by the lead, comes back to a little clip here, which will clip if you want to clip, a small hook, but more important, it's got these little beads. It's for place. See the black and green there? Now the black and green are supposedly supposed to represent place mussels. Now there's no place mussels around here, but sometimes these are luminous and they actually, you know, draw the light. They might actually draw the attention of a fish. That's my theory behind using this. These are crimped there. Hopefully you can see that. Bead, bead, and it's got a little bit of movement there up to the top of the swivel, and then a crimp to stop it sliding down on the other hook. So they're quite long traces there, and they've got the rubber beads here, just stop knots, so that stops the worm flying right up the hook. So you just put the worm on and or sand it, and then you pinch these down on top. I'll put the baits on. The baits, I've got a ragworm, I've got some nice big ragworm which I'm going to use sections of. Just for a change, I'm going to show you these ragworm. I haven't got many. I've only got about sort of 4 or 5 hour session. Hopefully it's going to be enough here if I'm using small bits. They've already soaked up into the paper. You put paper in them. These are Giganticus, megalodons of the world of ragworm. Really, really big ones. And they are going to have some big A pinchers coming out of there. There they come. They want to come out. You can see that. I can't hold him. Maybe you'll see the big pair of pinchers come out. And they only just nip you. As kids, they used to tell us, other fishermen, that they'll go through your thumbnail and puncture you and go right and come out the other side. But sections of those are going to be using. Lovely, lovely fresh ones there. For a change, it's been a shocker this year. And that one's not going to show his pinchers for you. But you can see the size of them, guys. Look, man, a foot long. I'm keeping them in the cooler, but I don't want to get them too chilled, so I'm going to use a piece of one of those. Okay, the other rig I've got here, 2 up and 1 down. Ragworm up here, and I've just slid the little rubber stopper down to stop the worm blasting up the line. Here again, you've got the little, if you can see that there, little stop, slide that down like that, and that stops it all sliding up the line. But this time I've got a grip lead on because I don't know their spring tides. There could be a lot of tide here. I've not fished here before. Now, what I'm going to do is I get extra distance if I can. I'm going to don my chest waders. Now, there's 2 types of chest waders. You can get neoprene ones, obviously different thickness, very soft, supple and light. But they're generally like a sock at the bottom. You have to get a boot or an old trainer, otherwise you're going to make a hole in them. Or you can get the rigid ones, which I use for my boat launching. I was going to bring both down and show you, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to use the rigid ones now. Now, I'm putting this one in this tube I've made there. I call that my shotgun because it just takes a spinning rod. It's a bonus. That's all it is, just a bonus. The tide at the moment is flooding, so it's coming in this way, right to the left. And you figure if there's any particles of food out there, they should be getting trundled along the seabed, washed along that way, and maybe fish are working along the inside of this big sandbank that goes way, way out there for half a mile at least. But as happens in the UK, no nibbles on a bright sunny day on the beach here. But look at this, guys. I've got it to myself. What the heck is that, a bumblebee? Look at that guy in a microlight. He's flying along. Well, he would be flying, Graham. He's in a microlight. Stupid child. Mike, hey, that's Smith. Smith, get back here with that aeroplane. He's only stolen an aeroplane. That's pretty low, actually, that one. I'll be very interested if he rose to the top of my lines because he doesn't realise how far out I am. Now this is also what we call, people, walk back techniques, because as the tide pushes me in, if I was fishing a big bait, I'm not, I could walk my tripod back and end up fishing like 150 yards out. I am at the moment anyway, because I've waded out. But the tide's coming in, so fingers crossed I might just get, look, just small fish. We're not asking for much here at the Totally Awesome Show. We don't ask for much, do we? I want to see what's underneath the water out there. I guess you guys want to come with me. I'll change the camera, put it on the underwater pole, change the house, and we're going to check it out and just see what is there. I get bored so quickly, it's terrible. Wow, look at this. Mussels. Oh, watch this one, guys. You'll like this. Look at this one, guys. What's that? What's that, eh? What's that there? It's a mussel. Oh man, that's what you call some mussels. God, they'll arrest me one day. What else we got? I saw some other stuff down here. I saw quite a few like clam shells. Oh yeah, look. Look, oyster shells. Is that a cockle shell, a fossil, or 50p that's worn spare from years ago? There's lots, obviously, of stuff washing around here. Thank God, not too much of this weed. But there are, actually, when I look at it, tons and tons of shellfish. Now, they could have been left over from, say, trawlers, but nevertheless, there's a limpet there. These used to be really good bait. We're not allowed to even look at them now. Mustn't use limpets for bait. They're an invasive species. Oh, they've only been invasive about 100 years. Lots of food in this beach. It's obviously been washed around by this current. Let's check it out and see what's under the water. Now, areas like this which have got quite a fast tide generally would be fairly coloured water, but here is clear water, but you'll notice that the seabed pretty well here, obviously it dries out completely at low water, so therefore no weed or anything is going to grow except on the rocks, as you can see there. So a lot of that sand is clean, open ground. That's not to say there won't be fish moving over it, but there's no real feature there to hold anything, just a mixture of sand and stones and shingle like that. So there is no exact feature. Those fish could be at long distance, or they could actually at night come in a lot closer to the shore. Well, it is a very pleasant day. I can't tell you how many boats are out here and how close they're going to my fishing lines. Because what's happening is, as the tide's coming closer to shore, it's pushing the boats closer to me, because they all want to get down the channel into the main harbour area. So they're all cutting the corner here. Instead of going through the channel markers, they think, oh, high tide is coming up, a flooding tide, I'll cut the corner. I've never done that. I've never really done it much, to be honest, maybe a few times, because it's always a risk of taking out your propeller on the bottom of the sandbank or hitting some rocks. But listen, weekend warriors, they're out there playing with their toys. What can I say? That's why there's at least, I think, 2 Coast Guards up here, and these orange boats up and down around the entrance. This must be the zone where it all happens. I wonder if I should put, I haven't had a bite that I've seen, maybe it's time to bring it out, the Lucky Awesome hat. What Mike used to do, because apparently this is cool when he was at school, you couldn't have a flat peak, you had to have a curved peak like this. So they used to put them into paper cups or glasses or something like that, just to get that curve in and hold that curve. I've got the curve, and I've got the Lucky Awesome hat, I've got a wasp, get off out of it. I've got the wasp, I'm cool, I've got the shades on, but I haven't got any fish, have I? No. Spanker of a day though. But listen, this is what I would have expected, but we'll see. I'm going to winch those in, and they've been out there for 1 hour. Let's see if the crabs have had the bait. If they're all chewed off and I've got bare hooks, then I'm going to start doing half hour. You know, you just keep shortening it until when you do wind in, you've got a little bit of bait left on. I possibly always tend to leave my baits out a little bit too long. Well, as I thought, guys, the wind is whistling. It's picked right up. You probably be able to see the tides ripping there now. Quite a few of the small boats have come back. I've now tipped off with rag. When I put here, look, just so you know, I'll turn that way, might be able to get it off the wind. I put a small grip lead. Again, it's got little veins on the outside of it. I hope it flies through the air a bit better, because this wind's going to knock me back a bit, which is another reason it's handy having the chest waders. Let's get out there, see if we can gain a few extra yards. It's so clear to water, very, very clear to water here. And I'm very careful of the current. I'm feeling it as I go, because there's waves coming off other boats as well. I just gain every little bit I can, just going out here and allow for the waves and the most monumental booty you could possibly get. There should be a good current going out there now, I'm hoping. That's my reason for coming here. And then just walk it back up to the tripod and get the others out as well. And give those a change. The baits were untouched, but I tipped off with fresh rag. Might be a bit of smell in the water then. A couple of other guys turned up over there spinning for just feathering, I guess, a mackerel. Coming up, it's not high water for another 3 hours, so a bit early. What's going to happen here, the tide's all going up here, up through the back. When that ebb comes out on a spring against the wind that's coming the other direction, it's going to really be rough out there. And I figure that's why that Coast Guard's hanging around there. He's waiting for the ebb tide to set in, because a lot of people out there don't realise how rough it can get with what's called a wind against tide situation. It can be dodgy. I'm so pleased I made the decision, even if I blank here, and I probably will, not to go out in my boat today, because I would have got stuck in a wind against tide situation. Southerly and an ebbing spring tide down here in this channel is not good. Out we go again. Seems like there's a circulation and a tide pulling to the right here, so that's changed since I've come out. The wind is whistling now, boys. Let's just see if there's anything on these tiny hooks. If not, I'm going to put, I have to put little bits of tiny segments of ragworm on there. I only want one fish. I mean, it's really, you know, it's not like a lot to ask, is it? Surely. Us old English fishermen, beach fishermen, my goodness, we have to put up with something, don't we? The reel's not squawking anyway, that's something. The grip's snagging on the bottom, but I think there's too much current ripping now to actually not leave that grip lid out. They'll be dragging all over the place, because these other guys have turned up over there on the rocks now, so they'll be just going through my lines. Oh, that was nearly a wet one. Out we go. A little bit closer this time. There's a bit more depth here now. There's a big one. Is this a wet one, guys? Whee! I'd say that if I fall over. 3 ragworm, sections of. Size 2 freshwater hooks in the shotgun holder. I feel the tide is pulling really hard now. Guys, I think we've got a bite there. I'm going to try and skewer the camera in here. Didn't look a big fish bite, did not look a big fish bite. I take it is a bite. Here's a bite. Well, just messing about filming. Now if I was on a bomb I'd be tightening up on this, but because there's a grip lead I can't tighten up on it. Definitely a small fish bite there. Not very violent, not very aggressive, but it was a bite. What do I do? Do I leave it? Smith, tell me what to do. Strike it? I think I've got to leave it. I left some tail of worm hanging off the hook there, especially to try and attract fish. And they might just be nibbling on the worm. I think I'm going to leave that. Back it off, put it back where it was. Just to see if he comes back. Oh yes, here we go. We've saved the blank with a little bass. Look, there we go, small bass on those small hooks. Only a little one, look. Listen, a bass is a bass, isn't it? Let's get him unhooked. And listen, look at the other strip bait. I think I'm going to go with small hooks, so I saved the blank there. Very small hooks and pieces, and look, just a little one. I mean, at the end of the day, a bass is still a bass, isn't it? Let's get him straight back. Save the blank, and those small hooks just show you can, in fact, he wants to spike me. What a nasty little chap you are. Let's get him back. Go on, straight back in the surf. Tide's getting right up now. I've got about 40 minutes before it's high water. So I'm just going to have a spin off of those rocks, guys, because I think I can get in a deep pool down there in the side. I just lost another bass trying to get the camera ready. So many fish I've lost over the years. Going back, leaving it in the water, thinking it would stay on. No, it doesn't. It comes off. Anyway, I guess it's a little bit bigger than the last one, but I'm just going to nip this off, and I've got a tiny little, like a spoon or spinner I'm going to have a cast with. See what I can come up with. Some kids are throwing stones at me right in the middle of the back. How stupid are they? I've got one of these little angled prism spinners. I think it's a Storm one. It's only very light. I always keep one in my box just in case. I'd barely be able to cast it, I should think, with this wind. But if I get up on these rocks, I could probably send it downwind across there. That's the theory. Everything's a theory. Let's hope we don't break our leg. You can see here's the beach here, my side, with the baits. If I drew a straight line across there, you can see that I've got another good, probably 20 feet this side. So we'll have a go out here. Just give it a bit of a cast out, if it will. I won't spend a lot of time doing it because those other three lure guys were fishing away on the other side on the rocks over there, and they didn't get anything either. There might be a bass or a mackerel around, who knows. Probably needs a heavier size. Oh, bass number 3, guys. Bass number 3. Not a big fish. Look, we know it's not a big fish. It is a bass, and that was my last cast. I have one worm left. Well. Wonders never cease. And you'll notice I tried to pulley rig nothing. Look at that little bass, he's taken that whole ragworm. A small bass, but he's taken that whole ragworm. Wow, greedy chappy. Don't you spike me, will you? That's it, I'll get the hook out for you. Well, it just goes to show you. Oh, there's a bite on that one, I think. Oh, there we go. Size of the worm he ate. Look at the size of the worm he ate. Look, tiny little weensy one. Still good to catch. Let's get him back. This is the last cast. Actually, that last one was the last cast, guys. I've been saving this puppy here. OMG. I've been saving him for the last cast. I've got a pulley rig out. I tried a whole squid out there on the other rod. I'm still going with the small hooks, but obviously it's not going nuts with it. And what I do, guys, is I go through where the pinchers are just there. Hopefully you can see that. It's quite a wide gape hook, this one. I think it's one of those Cox and Raw ones, wide gape. Craig Butler gave it to me, this one. He didn't give me a hook, he gave me a packet. Craig's a bigger man than that. He doesn't just need to give me a hook. I'm going to thread that up. Then I'm going to snip the tail off to let some juice out. Save the tail in case I do get a bite and something bizarre happens on the last cast. Because last cast, and now it's pulling to the left. It's beyond me. It should be ripping to the right. So I'm going to have one last cast. I have no idea where it's going back that way. Wow, I nearly got that one in the kisser. And here we go. Going to clip this down. There's a bit of weed coming through there now. It's a bit, you know, a bit different. I'm going to put all that down onto the bend of the hook. Get my little clip rigged up there like that. That's all clipped up there, guys. Ready to chuck out. This is the last wading session, after which I will be taking my waders off and carrying them back. But they've certainly got me the extra distance today. Listen, I've saved the blank. 3 little baby bass, and I can't tell you, a flounder, well, if it got much smaller, let's face it, it would be an egg. It should all be put in that way. And I don't know why it's suddenly gone back the other way, so I'm going to cast this one up towards that stanchion. I want to get out a bit deeper. Always take care when wading, don't go in coloured water, because you won't know where you're treading. You should have what's called a wading staff. But I can see the bottom here. Last cast with the big rod. Let's wait for that swell to go through. And it wasn't the world's best cast, but it's out there. It can fish out. They can stay there. Got about 15 minutes left. What a beautiful evening. So nice, even fishing in these waders. Just let me get out. I've been able to see under the water, through the water. Okay, you could say it hasn't done me any good, hasn't really done me any good, but then the other 3 guys I saw blank. There's another one just bait fishing over there, he's on a blank. So I guess I've done all right with what I caught, and I've had a good day and I've been out there. I'm out there, you've got to be in it to win it, guys. There we go. Another little tip, I don't put my line in the holder like that, because if you do have a take, look, it pinches. I put it just around the outside, but you've got to remember to do that when you go to pick it up. That is the last cast for these other ones. Whew, and I'm out of food as well. Well, that's it, guys. I've just got to do one last winding. I've got no more bait left anyway, so I'm exceeding the 5 minutes by 15 minutes as you do. Thanks for watching the Totally Awesome Fishing Show. Don't forget to watch Mike's TA Outdoors. Hit both channels subscribe buttons and the little tinkly bell, notification bell that tells you when a film's coming up. That way you don't have to go searching, do you? It goes bing bong and you go, oh, there's another TA or TA Outdoors up. Anyway, what do you think of A, the cap, and B, the new design? If you do want to support us, great. You've got some clothing now. Mike's trying to sort all that out. It's called TA Official, the website, TA Official. He's just put together Totally Awesome Outdoors, Totally Awesome Fishing into one thing, called it TA. You can still find us on Fishing and Outdoors, obviously, but he's got a brand of clothing. This is the new design. This is the first time it's been worn. At least I haven't blanked in it yet. We'll see you guys next time And it's going to be another 5 minutes because I can't work the tide out. It should be ebbing that way. It's dragging like crazy this way. And I've just had that baby bass. There might be something else out there.